Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Deb of Deb Loves Jewelry, and as promised, today I am sharing my video with you on the Tucson GemShow and all of my guidance about the show. So most of the show today is going to be me yammering to you on the camera, so you also get to see my messy studio behind me. But I wanted to do this video to share my experience with you on the Tucson GemShow. It is a really amazing event, and it is something that I look forward to each year. Now, I've been going to the GemShow now for about 14 years, and I think I missed 1 year because of work. But it is an amazing show. So if you're thinking about going, thinking about planning a trip to the show, I'm hoping that maybe what I tell you today can help you prepare for it. Now that the 2026 show is essentially over, we can start looking forward to 2027. So maybe, you can start thinking about that now and thinking about how you will execute your plan for 2027. So let's get started. First of all, I want to say, I'm giving you my opinions and my suggestions and my guidance based on my experiences and what I like to do. I am a jewelry maker, a jewelry designer, a jewelry making educator, and I have gone to the show in all of the phases of my jewelry making. So as a beginner, I went to the shows and just wanted to shop for beads and see beautiful things and maybe learn something. But I've also gone to the show to do demonstrations, to do events, challenges, that kind of thing. So, but I go now for a variety of reasons, and I plan my trip very cautiously and carefully every year. So I have to be mindful of what I need to do and when I need to do it and all of that. But these are my opinions, so I want to break it down into parts. So first of all, let's talk about what the Tucson GemShow is. So the Tucson GemShow is the world's largest and the world's oldest gem and mineral show that exists. And it is pretty prestigious. It has been around a long time, and there are 40 plus shows that are the Tucson GemShow. I think most people associate the GemShow with what might happen in their local area, their town or their city or their county. You get in your car, you drive to the convention center, you park your car, you go in, you look around, you collect all of the things you want, you go to your car and you go home. The Tucson GemShow, not like that. There are 40 plus shows throughout the whole town of Tucson. So if you go to Tucson, you know that you're going to have to travel around to see everything. Now, there may be something at the convention center, but there are also shows at hotels, casinos, in tents that are set up, and they are literally everywhere. And there are also little small ones that are set up. Maybe someone sets up a tent out in front of their rock shop. So there are lots of shows that make up the Tucson GemShow. It's been around a long time, and originally it was more of just a rock and mineral show. So people would go and look at rocks if they were rock collectors. Maybe they were looking for beautiful geodes and crystals. So it was originally mostly that, but now it has blossomed into, still lots of rocks and minerals, but also bead shows and finished jewelry shows. Shows where you can buy fine gems and diamonds and those kinds of things. And then there are shows that have dinosaur bones and everything in between. And a lot of shows are hybrids of things. So you can go to a show and maybe it's a gem and mineral focused show, but they also have some beads and some finished jewelry and maybe even some purses and clothing and pottery. So there's lots of opportunities to find things that maybe you specifically are looking for, and probably some things you aren't looking for too. So it's a big thing. It's, the Tucson is not the largest city in our state of Arizona, but it's pretty big and it's pretty spread out. Now it's also very scenic, and there are lots of other things to do while you're in Tucson. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But just know that if you come to town for the Gem Show, you aren't going to just drive to one place, park your car, do your shopping, and get in your car and go home. There's lots of things that go into planning for this show. It's kind of a big deal. So let's talk about transportation. I am by no means a travel agent or a travel expert, but I'm fortunate enough to currently live within driving distance. But I have traveled. So I lived on the East Coast for 10 years, and I used to fly out for the shows. So know that flying into Tucson, the Tucson airport is very small, so it's hard to maybe get direct flights there. So that's something you'll need to factor into your travel. But Phoenix is about 2 hours away. So if you want to fly into Phoenix, that is certainly an option for you. And you can rent a car out of Phoenix and drive down to Tucson. Tucson is a straight shot from Phoenix. Like, you literally get onto I-10 and just drive south. There are some rest stops and a few things to see along the way if you want to take your time in those couple of hours. But if you want to get to the shows, it is a straight shot down I-10, Interstate 10 in Arizona to get there. Phoenix Airport is a huge international airport. So, that's just an easy airport for traveling from all different places to get there. Now, getting around in Tucson, there are some shuttle opportunities. So some of the shows are on a shuttle stop for the shows. So that's something, if you are not really keen on driving or don't want to have to drive around to all of the different shows, you may want to explore the shuttle that is put in place during the time of the shows. You can also use Uber or Lyft to help get you around, but probably renting a car is best so that you have the flexibility of getting to the shows that are not on that shuttle stop, or, heading out to dinner or to hang out with friends or other events that you might want to attend throughout your time there. Now, if you're planning the amount of time to go to Tucson, well, that's debatable. I wouldn't recommend just going for a day. Although, if you just want to hit one show and ease your way into it, you could probably do some of the smaller shows in one day. If you're traveling in, I would make sure that you travel in, spend the night, get up the next day and go to the show, have a full day, and then go home the next day if you're traveling there. But I would try and plan at least 2 or 3 days. That's how I used to do it. Now that I have a jewelry design business, I spend anywhere from like 5 to 8 days, depending what I've got planned for this particular show. So you can plan around how much time you have. And what I would suggest is taking a few things into consideration. Okay, for one, some of the shows that are in town are wholesale only. So you will want to do some research. So I'm always going to tell you, do research. Do lots of research for whatever it is you're going to embark on. This is the kind of thing I would definitely do research for. So I would explore what shows are wholesale shows and what shows are retail shows. Because if you do not have a wholesale or resale license, you may not be able to get into some of the shows. There are several guides out there to help you navigate the gem shows. Interweave Publishing actually puts out an annual book that you can get in electronic version. I would check out the Interweave website in advance of your planning to see if you can get your hands on an electronic copy as you start to prepare. There's also visit tucson.org.gov.com. I'm not sure which, but you can, there's a guide to helping you with the shows, and you can find lots of other resources as well that will lay out all of the different shows, the hours, the dates, the whether it's a wholesale or retail show, but you will definitely want to know about that in advance, because it's a huge bummer to show up to a show and not be able to get in. So one thing that I do, the first thing I do every year, is I sit down with a piece of paper and I plan out when the shows are, the shows that I want to go to and shows that I have to be at. And I will put them on a piece of paper and I will take a look at the dates. And I want to make sure that I'm there to see all of those shows. Some shows are only open for a few days. Some are open for like 3 weeks. So know that you can't necessarily plan your trip to see all the shows you want to see, because they may not all be open at the same time. So check your dates, and then you can start to narrow down when you want to be there so you can start planning. The wholesale retail thing is the next thing that I would do. So I know I said to do that first, but narrow down your dates. Then make sure that you understand what shows require for you to get in. Some of the shows actually allow you to pre-register. And what that does for you is it cuts down the time to get into the show. So for example, if you are a wholesale person or resale person, one of the largest shows is going to allow you to pre-register up to a certain date, and then they shut down pre-registration. And what that means is after that date, you have to wait in line. And it's kind of a slow line. I'm just saying, I did that this year. I haven't had to do it for a while, but I registered, or I got my renewal of my resale license so late this year, and I didn't get in time to pre-register. And it took me probably almost a half an hour to wait in line while my friends were standing waiting for me. So just know that if you can pre-register, be aware of dates for that as well. It helps you skip the line, helps you to walk right in and get going with your experience right away. So that's something you'll want to check out. Again, you got to research all of this stuff. Now, also in terms of that whole thing of where the shows are, they are all over town. Some are way far. So if you are a jewelry maker, more in the crafting world, beading, stringing, wire work kind of thing, one of the most popular shows is a show called Colors of the Stone. Colors of the Stone is out at Casino del Sol, which is way about 30 minutes down a separate highway. And it's well worth the drive, but it is pretty far away from some of the other shows. There's kind of a cluster of shows along I-10 that if you parked, you could probably walk to some, but there's, some that are sort of in the general area, very easy to get, to and from some of them, but that show is pretty far out. There's a few others that are also sort of outliers in terms of where they're located. So when you're thinking about your planning, you may want to plan them based on where they're located, but you also may want to plan based on the size of the show. So Casino del Sol is a show you could probably do in one day. And if you are motivated, you could probably do more than one show if that's one of them. So you could do that one and another small one. Shows that are focused more on jewelry making and beading, and where you can find lots of beading supplies, beads, artisan things. Casino del Sol is kind of the premier show for that. It's a larger show. There's a smaller show called the Whole Bead Show, and it's WHOLE. That show is a great show. It's small. So you could pair that up with some smaller shows, or if you do one big show and you just have a little bit more time, that's another show that you could fit in the same day. If you want to do another beading type show, the Best Bead Show is back. That show was popular for quite a number of years, and then it kind of went away for a bit. It's been a little off and on in terms of the amount and quality of participants, but I believe it is back and getting a little bit better again. So that's another one that you might want to take a look at. Not as big as the Colors of the Stone show. So those are all very bead show type oriented shows. Now, there are some other great shows if you are that kind of person, which I am. Probably one of the most popular shows is a show called the GL&W show. Now, they've been around a long time, and it's probably one of the premier gem and mineral shows. And it's a combination of the Gem Mall. You'll hear it referred to as the Gem Mall, Holodome. It's a series of tents. So every year as the show is approaching, these large tents, white tents, start to appear off of I-10. And there's actually 4 tents. One, two, three, four. I think there's 4 tents. And they all have different names, and that show is a wholesale show. So in order to get in, you do need the proper credentials, and they do check you at the gate. It's also a little bit like getting into Fort Knox. So as I said, I was late to get my resale license renewed, so I did wait in line, and it took probably half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour to get through the line. And that was on a slow day. So just something for you to think about if you want to explore what your state rules are for resale or wholesale licensure. It is up to your individual state, and all states are honored, as far as I know, here in Arizona. So, yeah. But this is a fantastic show. And the tents are set up, and then there's actually food and drink and restrooms and places to sit down outside. And most of the time in Arizona, that time of year is quite lovely. You might need a jacket, but it's, fresh air and probably not going to rain, although I have been there when it's rained. But you will check your weather in advance. That's another research item for you to do. But these shows are a combination of everything. There are beads, there are pendants, there are pearls, there are check glass sellers. There are lots of sellers from other countries. So you can take advantage of Tibetan beads, and you could take advantage of lots of turquoise. I mean, incredible turquoise. Some artisan things in these shows, not a tremendous amount, but there are some artisans available out at these shows. Obviously, lots of stones, and there's a lot of finished jewelry at some of the shows as well within the GL&W. So you can find just about anything and everything that you need and probably don't need. It is one of my favorite shows. You definitely need at least one day to do this show. I would recommend planning more than one day. So if you have the proper credentials and can get into that show, you would probably be wise to spend at least a couple of days there. And again, there's food. You can sit down, take a break. But there is lots to see, lots to get your hands on, and lots of great pricing because of the wholesale resale opportunities. So that's one of my favorites. Some other favorites of mine are the Kino show, which that is not wholesale or resale, but that one's a hodgepodge of things too. It's some beads. Gosh, there's people selling clothing, big rocks, big stones, all kinds of things there. There's always a vendor there that I love to visit. They have antlers and beads and tea and all kinds of cool things. So all kinds of fun treasures throughout that show. And some will make wholesale deals with you. So if you do have a wholesale or resale license, make sure you always ask about pricing. And let's see, there's also Jogs, which is a wholesale resale show. And that one has a difficult parking situation, but they do offer valet. So just know that sometimes parking at these shows can be a little nutty. Another show that's got nutty parking is Pueblo, right off of I-10 at a hotel. That's a quirky show. Some of the most beautiful artisan-made jewelry I've ever seen is at that show. There's some beautiful beads there, some beautiful cabochons. That's a hodgepodge too, and they also have some great food at that show. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge of everything, but worth the trip, worth the parking. They have very little in the vicinity of the hotel, but there's a probably about a half-mile walk where they have a parking lot in the dirt, but you may choose to park there, and that's actually a great show. Those are probably the shows that I always hit. So I'll provide you guys with a list of shows and a little bit of information for each in the comments in the description of this video so that you'll get a little bit more info about them and can dig in to them a little further. But for my jewelry making friends that follow me and subscribe to this channel, those might be the shows that you would like to check out if you're a retail, and then for my friends who also have a wholesale license. Okay, so another thing that you should do, couple things you should do. One is you should create a budget for yourself. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I have stayed in budget for the shows any of the years I've gone. Now, maybe there have been a couple years where I've been pretty good and maybe just, gone a tiny bit over. But make a list of what you might be looking for. So if you are truly going to look for something in particular, maybe you're looking for turquoise. Maybe you're looking for seed beads. Maybe you're looking for artisan things, unique artisan things. Make a list of what you're looking for. That will help you establish a budget and be prepared to go over your budget. So just know that when you go to these shows, you're probably being exposed to things that maybe you can't find anywhere else or you've not seen anywhere else. Maybe even at the gem show or bead show that you've been to locally to you doesn't have some of these kinds of vendors. So know that you're always going to find things that you need and things that you just want, and you're going to bring them home. So I would always over budget so that you've got that little buffer of things that you didn't expect to find. And maybe you're just going and saying, wherever the road takes me, whatever I find is coming home with me. You still might want to create that budget so that you don't overspend. It is so easy to do. I'm telling you, it is so incredible, the amazing things that you can find. And this is where everybody sort of introduces new products and introduces new stones or brings out the old stones that haven't been seen for a really long time. It's one of the places where you can find a lot of turquoise, whereas maybe you can't find it anywhere else. So budget, write it down, and I try to keep track of my purchases each night. So I will make a list, I'll write down each one of my amounts, and I'll tally it up and see where I am relative to my budget, which is sometimes kind of a scary thing. But something I do every year to help me with kind of the overwhelming sights and sounds, sensory overload of the shows is I'll take a little breather, kind of midpoint during my time. So this year I did 5 days, and on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, on day 4, I only had a day and a half left. I went to the zoo. Now, you could do a lot of other things, but I do like a clear the palate time and just kind of go and do something relaxing, something outside, something that, I can just go and wander around and not have that frenzy of, oh my gosh, I need to have all these beads. So I usually go to the Reed Park Zoo, which is one of my most favorite zoos. It's a very small zoo. You could do it in a couple of hours, maybe even an hour, and they do have food. So it's just something that you might want to do. And there's also the Desert Museum that's kind of far out, but also worth the trip. And, there's just lots of other places that you might want to pop in, and lots of great restaurants to stop in and take a breather, because you're going to need it. Another thing that you should plan is to have like a little care package for yourself for the shows. So if you do have the Interweave guide, it's a book. Maybe in advance of the show, you got it electronically, but when you get to Tucson, the actual hard copy book is available throughout the city. So if you go to a show, it's usually in a, stacked up like newspapers, and you can pick one up. I would throw that into a duffel bag, or a shopping bag of some sort. I would have a little shopping bag for yourself. Either a shoulder bag or something that you can roll, depending on how much you plan on buying. Because if you're buying a lot, you're not going to want to drag a big bag over your shoulder or a backpack. And plus, the more you have with you, and if the show is crowded, you're bumping into people with your bag. So have a bag, have an appropriate sized bag, and know that you can also probably get back to your car if you have a rental car or a car there with you, and you can drop things at your car. But I would have in your bag that guide, which may give you some information about the specific show. So sometimes you can find it in that book. If you've done your research for all of the shows, you may have a list already from going to their website. So for example, if you were to go to the Colors of the Stone website, you can check out their list of vendors. So you can in advance say, okay, I want to make sure I see this one, and I want to make sure I go to this one. So you could have your list with you, and you'll have your list of things that you're looking for. So your finds list or your shopping list. And then I recommend water. So have some bottled water with you, or a reusable water bottle that you can fill up. I would also recommend a snack like a protein bar or something that will give you a little boost. If you're in between meals and you're just feeling a little bit tired, sometimes a little snack will help you. So I always drop some snacks and a water bottle in my bag. And you may want to make sure you have comfortable shoes. Now, a few years ago, a friend of mine was going for the first time, and she said, is our flip-flops okay? Because it's going to be so warm there. I'm like, do not wear flip-flops. You need good supportive shoes for your feet, because you're going to be walking around a lot, and you might be walking on uneven ground. A lot of these shows are partially outside. Some of them are in the dirt. Even in the show at the casino, they've got things covering up cables. You're walking over, uneven, places. Just trust me, you need comfortable shoes. Your sneakers, your favorite Vans. I wear Vans a lot. And, wear some comfortable shoes that have some support, because your feet are going to hurt after standing and walking around. But a lot of the shows do have places for you to go and take a breather, put your feet, sit down, get your feet recharged. And so I recommend that too. Take breaks. And if you're there with friends, so I've done shows by myself a lot, but I also go with groups of friends. And what we tend to do is have a group text, because one person might say, I need to go sit down. I need to get off my feet for a little while. So if you want to just send your friends a quick note, hey, keep going, I'm going to go sit down, or hey, I'll meet you out at the fish taco truck to have a little snack in 30 minutes. You guys can keep in touch that way. I highly recommend that, because as you start to experience all of the sensory overload, it's very easy to get separated from the group. So just know that you should have a way to connect with your pals. And you can also, just kind of find a place to take a rest if you need it at any point in time throughout your time there. Another thing I didn't share, and I did mention earlier, is there are sometimes classes available at these shows. For example, the Colors of the Stone show, which is also formerly known as To Bead True Blue, for some of you that might recognize that name. Sometimes there are classes offered, and they will have a list of their classes on their website. So if you want to go and check out what classes are available, who the instructors are, that's a way that might help you plan your trip as well. So there's lots of classes throughout the city, but you'll want to make sure that's incorporated into your plan. Some classes are an hour and a half, some are a whole day. So that will also help you to plan your time there, where you need to be, where you need to stay in relationship to the show. So I used to go and take classes based on a theme. So one year I did a couple of soldering classes, and one year I did a class working with wire and leather. So just kind of, think about what you'd like to learn, what your budget is for classes, and you will want to pre-register for those classes, because I know that some of them often sell out in advance. And if you're hoping to get in when you get there, you might be sadly disappointed. But there are lots of classes available. It's another thing. Research to make sure that you can find the classes that you want and get in them and prepay and all of that good stuff, so you can just show up. And sometimes the classes may ask you to have something with you, maybe tools, a certain kind of tool, but most of the time they will have everything set up. And if you're not sure, ask. Let's see. So that should help you with your planning. So recapping so far, you'll want to know what days you need to be there. That will help you with travel. Know that you may want to fly into Tucson if you can, but you may just fly into the Phoenix International Airport, because that is more accessible, lots of flights in and out of there. You probably will need a rental car, or if you don't plan to do that, you'll need to research the shuttle, and you'll need to research, Uber and Lyft. Make sure that you have the apps on your phone so that you can do that if you intend to rely on that throughout the week. You should also understand which shows are wholesale and which shows are retail, what you have credentials for so that you can gain access to the shows you want. You should make sure you know which shows maybe have what things. And if I didn't say it already, you should actually check out the websites for these shows. Most of these shows have websites, so it's going to tell you where they're located, their hours, their dates, the vendors that are there, and that will help you decide, is that a show I want to go to? You know, if I've only got 3 days, do I want to try to go to that one? Or is this other one more interesting to me? I also didn't mention 22nd Street. That's another show that's quite interesting, has a variety of things, dinosaur bones, beads, you know, some gemstone spheres, like all kinds of cool things. But, you know, you'll want to make sure that you know for the time that you have and the budget that you have, that you see the things that you want to see. The time is going to go by so fast. You'll also want to make sure that you're well prepared with your maps and your information about the shows, your credentials, your kind of care package for the show, your water, your snacks, and wear those comfortable shoes. And make sure that if you are with friends, you have that group text set up so that you can find each other and stay in touch throughout the shows. One more thing is, like, just have a good time. There are lots of other things to see in Tucson, and there are lots of great restaurants. I will say, I've eaten some amazing Mexican food in Tucson. There are lots of, like, you know, really good, authentic Mexican food restaurants. You'll need to know that this time of year, everything is busy. You'll need your hotel reservation. That's another thing. Well in advance of your time there. This is not a last minute thing that you should do. Some hotels will sell out. Some hotels actually have GemShow rates. So if you miss those, you miss those, and the rates are going to be high. Book as early as you can and take advantage of any of those opportunities that you can get your hands on. But like anything else is going to be busy. Restaurants, even some shopping will be busy during this time. So just know that you may want to get a reservation if the restaurants will take a reservation. But if they don't, you'll want to make sure that you have your patience hat on and that you're ready to maybe sit or stand for a period of time to wait for a seat. But there are tons of great restaurants, lots to see. And I gave an endorsement for the Reed Park Zoo. That is the Tucson Zoo. There's also the Desert Museum, which is kind of a cross between a zoo and, they also have lots of great landscaping opportunities for you to see. So all the desert landscape and plants you can learn about. And it's an amazing drive out there. You're also not too far from a lot of other tourist attractions. There are some on the way to Tucson, and there's some in close proximity to town. So there's lots of things if you want to just take a break, or you want to do a little something before or a little something after, or both. There's lots of things to do in Tucson, lots to do and see. So I think I've covered everything that I can think of to share with you all on whether or not you want to take that adventure. I can tell you, if you are a jewelry maker, which is what I am, it's an amazing experience to go and find all kinds of beautiful things, learn some things, connect with friends, connect with people that maybe you haven't met before. People come from all over the country, all over the world. So maybe you'll meet up with some people that you only know online. That's always a fun thing to do. So that's as much as I can tell you. Again, all of just my opinions, my experience, but I hope that something is helpful. Certainly, if you have questions, feel free to drop those in the comments and I'll answer as quickly as I can. And if you plan on being there in 2027, let me know. Maybe we can meet up and shake hands and share bead stories and all of that good stuff. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you to those who are subscribers. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. I'd be greatly appreciative of that. And I have all kinds of content that I'll be sharing coming up this year. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you soon.